Hey there, it's Cathy from Red Robin Floral Furniture Refinishing. I have a project for you today as part of the Couture creative team. This is a canvas piece that I'm working on and it's going to be all about the texture. So first I just painted the surface with Farmhouse linen and I'm putting on a texture paste. That's the first step, and then you're going to see me use the Embossing Medium from Couture, and I'm just going to use an artist palette, or rather an artist palette knife, and I'm just going to be spreading the medium over the stencil in various spots, just very random. Now the embossing medium leaves a really nice texture and it dries really hard. I probably waited about 3 hours before I went on to the next step for it to fully dry. Although I have used a hair dryer to speed up the drying process a little bit in the past. So here I'm using a different stencil. You can really do whatever you'd like. So it's dry now, and I just tried to get a bit of a close-up so you could see the raised texture. I'm going to be using Couture's Crackle as well. Step 1 and step 2, you put on step 1, you wait about 30 minutes, and then you put on step 2. Now, because it's a white background, it's hard to see, but I'll show you later what it looks like. So now that the background is done with the texture, I'm going to show you the colors that I'm going to be using. Madagascar Mocha, Modern Rattan, Farmhouse Linen, and a little pitch black. I just used a little bit of water on the canvas to just thin out the paint so it's more like a wash when it goes on. I just brushed the Madagascar Mocha over the whole top of the canvas and then I smoothed it out with a chip brush. Now I'm just going to go around the edges with the pitch black. And I'm just going between a chip brush and a baby wipe to just kind of take off where I don't want as much, add some more. This is where you can just have fun and play with it and make it your own masterpiece. I then added some modern rattan with an artist palette knife. And I did the same with the pitch black. Then I was watering down the pitch black. I was just playing with it really until I got it where I liked it. So I'm done with the background for now, but I want to emphasize these are the colors that I chose, but you could definitely do this project with any colors that you like. Now there's the Crackle. I just wanted to show you that. It looks so good. But I'm going to go over it with a paint wash. So this is a paint wash with Farmhouse linen. I mean, I love the background, but it's all about creating layers. So I'm taking some of it off with a wet baby wipe, and you will still see those layers underneath. Now I'm taking the embossing medium and I'm going to fill a plastic bag with it, and I'm going to create a piping bag like you would use if you're icing a cake. I squeezed it all down and I secured it with an elastic band. I put that to the side. When I was ready to use it, I cut a little hole in the tip. Now here's an image that I drew out on a piece of white paper, and I'm going to trace it onto parchment paper. Now you can use any picture that you want. This is a flower, but you could just be creative and do anything you'd like. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the image, the side that you drew on, you're going to flip it over. I was just finding my placement here, but then you're going to use something hard, your fingernail, a credit card, anything, and you just rub on the lines and it will actually transfer onto your canvas. So then I took the piping bag with the embossing medium and I'm just outlining the petals of the flowers. I'm filling it in a little bit, and I started with the petals that were on the underside of the flower, if that makes sense, so that I can kind of build dimension as I go. I'm just spreading the embossing medium within the petal, and then I grabbed a little artist brush and I'm just kind of creating ridges. I switched to a smaller brush to see if that would work better, but I actually liked the little bit bigger one, and it was kind of a crusty paintbrush, so it made those ridges really easily. Now, I was kind of scared about making a mistake, but at the end of the day, I decided that if I did make a mistake, I could just wipe it off. This is such fine detail work, but you can just scoop off the embossing medium and start again, really. For the petals that were in the foreground, I just doubled up on the embossing medium so that they were a little more raised forward. I just want to say that I was inspired to try this by an amazing canvas artist. I've never done this before, and I really wanted to use the Couture products to see if I could do it. The links to these products will be listed below, and I really encourage you to give it a try. You may amaze yourself and you may find a really nice new creative outlet. And consider subscribing to the channel. We would really appreciate that. That way you can see all kinds of content creation from our creative team. So I felt that the background was still a little bit dark, so I'm just going over it very lightly with a bit more of a paint wash. Once the embossing medium dried on the flower, I painted over it in Farmhouse linen. Now I'm just going to use the colors that I had originally used on the background, and I'm just going to paint the flower. I'm using some of the Madagascar Mocha just to create shadows. And the modern rattan and the Madagascar Mocha in the middle. When that was all done, I used the Farmhouse linen to just go over it and tone it down a bit. I know this is a very detailed video, but I just thought that if I could break it down, you can see that it's not that difficult if you just go step by step. So it's a little bit less intimidating and you're more likely to try it. Now I'm going to use basil for the stems. I found some leaves from my garden and I'm painting the back where the veins are, and I'm just pushing that down onto the canvas. And I'm using the color basil for this as well. Now I'm going over the same leaves with the color Farmhouse linen. I'm just covering right over and pressing that down. And the final step is to just go over some of the raised parts with gold gilding wax. And there you go, she's all done. A really pretty canvas, full of texture. It was a lot of fun to do. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. Thanks again and have a great day.